Hello, everybody, and this is our week 3 wrap up. And in this wrap up, we're going to kind of keep it short and sweet and get to a couple main points of business about what's coming up. The first main point of business that I want to bring up is about the quizzes next week. Now, next week, there's going to be a lot less discussion and postings. That's going to quiet down significantly. But the modules coming up have to do with quantitative research and descriptive and inferential statistics, and much of the work has to do with taking quizzes online. So Tiffany and I want to make sure that you understand that the quizzes are for a learning experience, they're formative, and you do get points, participation points for taking the quizzes, but it doesn't matter in terms of your grade how well you do on the quizzes. With that said, the quizzes are instructional, and so when you take the quiz, often there's feedback that comes along with the right and wrong answers. Go ahead and make sure you click on that feedback to get the full feedback, and take the quiz 2-3 times. You can take it as many times as you want until you get comfortable with the concepts. Right? So main point is quizzes are instructional. They count for participation, but they don't count in terms of how well you do. If you do poorly on a quiz, don't worry that it's going to affect your grade. Just think, what can I do to learn these concepts? All right, Tiffany?
Yeah, well, I really don't. You explained that very well, John. I think that, again, the quizzes are a learning tool only, and it's really important to keep in mind. And the more times you take them, if you struggle with some of these concepts, and in the beginning, when a lot of you said you were worried about taking this course, it's these concepts that are coming up next week that are the ones that may perhaps be those that invoke fear in you. So really working through those quizzes a couple times will give you the confidence to read through some of those dense quantitative articles in preparation for your next submission for your quantitative critical analysis paper and in reading more research for your group papers. And I think that really transitions us into also the next part, as far as not having those thick discussions over the next couple weeks. The reason for that is we really want you to have the opportunity to work individually on your critical analysis papers and also figure out what are good times for you all to meet as groups, whether it be via Google Hangout, or I know a couple groups are even planning to meet in person next week to go through some articles. And so that's really why we loaded up a lot of the heavy discussion modules in the beginning, so that towards the end, now that you have a handle on how to do analysis, you can really sit together, whether that's via Google Hangouts or really sitting together to work through some of these articles. John?
Okay, I think the last thing is, so this is kind of a break point in the semester for us, where we've done a lot of the content development and practice now, and now we're switching into the group paper part of the course. And the last 2 modules you've done have been preparing you for that as well. And so the best advice I would have for you now is, if you haven't already done it, this is a great time to go onto D2L on the right-hand side of the homepage. There's a widget with previous examples of final group papers and some explanations about those. This is a great time to go look at those if you haven't looked at them yet. Get a clear picture in your mind of how this paper is supposed to look, at least the format of it, because it's a little bit different than other assignments that you might have done. It's not an essay. It's kind of has a specific structure and a specific purpose. And especially the group portions of those papers, there's some individual portions and some group portions. Look at the group portions and how they're supposed to work together clearly, that you've done the analysis together as a group to answer the questions that we've asked. If you look at those right now, then any work you do next week will have, I think, much more focus as a group, because you'll know exactly where you're going. Tiffany, anything else you want to say?
Well, the only thing I would add is, those of you who tend to be really wordy, I want you to start thinking about how to go about doing this analysis in a precise and concise manner. If you look at the rubric in the syllabus, we have word limits. And I know that John and I are not going to sit here and count words. We're not saying that. But certainly, if the word count would allow for something to be about a page long and your analysis is 3, we're going to notice something like that. So we're not super picky, but it's really important in writing about research to be as concise as you can be, which is why we put those word limits on that. So just to keep that in mind, I know there are some folks who tend to be wordier than others, so that that can sometimes pose a little bit of a challenge, and now's the time to start practicing that as well.
All right, I don't have anything else to say. We've enjoyed all the work we've got up to this point, so we thank you for everything that you've been doing, and we look forward to the group part of the process that is coming up. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Have a good one.